round 9 of the F4 British Championship. That's coming up at 4:30. A few umbrellas going up around the Thruxton circuit as one of the forecast showers starts to move in. It won't affect the action on the track, I'm sure, which comes next from the Mini Challenge Trophy, round 6 of their championship. Good weekend so far for Louis Cappozzoli with a win and a second. And let's take you straight into the commentary box, because in the absence of Paul O'Neill, Lydia Walmsley there got a last-minute call up, and we really appreciate you joining us today. Lydia, you're all set to go alongside the master, Richard John Neal.
Thank you, Steve.
Looking forward to it.
Yeah, we're looking forward to it, Lydia. First of all, get well soon, Owie. Look forward to seeing you back. And thank you, Lydia, for coming in at very short notice and prepping away. Real hard work, but great to welcome you back into the commentary box with us once again. This is going to be a cracking race, isn't it, this one? We've had some good racing this weekend.
It is, yes. Yesterday's race was phenomenal, wasn't it? So hoping for more today.
Hope so, yeah. We had a break of a little run yesterday. Nelson King has won 4 races this year, won the first 4 on the bounce. Although this is the first time we've seen the Coopers this year, they had the opening round of the year at Pembrey, supporting the British Truck Racing Championship, and he was unbeaten there, 3 race wins, and then backed it up with race number 1 win, and then race 2, Louis Cappozzoli, who we caught up with earlier on today, took his first win. But yesterday's race 2 was absolutely superb. Lots of place changes, quite a lot of penalties as well. Didn't affect the overall result, but I think the clerks just sort of read the riot act about track limits on various places. They
do tend to do that at Thruxton anyway. It's a normal thing for Thruxton. Yes, I think we need to be on our best behaviour today, boys, because I think there'll be a few more penalties dished out if not.
I think you're right, yeah, and we've got a bit of rain coming down.
Indeed, that could be a spanner in the works.
So here's the grid. Here's how they line up for round 6 of the Quaife Mini Challenge Trophy. Charlie Mann in the reverse grid pole. He was 6 in race 2 of the weekend, so he gets pole here. Alex Solly, who's got a in-car camera, is alongside. Then Nelson King, the championship leader from Lee Pearce. Alfie Glennie on row 3 with race 2 winner Louis Cappozzoli. Matt Hammond is next from Paul Manning, and then Jack Byrne and Joe Wiggin. Nicky Taylor and Nathan Edwards on row 6. Nathan in the Interclens car. Then it's Mike Paul and Morgan Root. Oliver Meadows with Tom Ovenden on row 8. Row 9, James Parker and Clark Wells, who has some history here at Thruxton, as we all know. Tyler Lindsay next up from Frankie Taylor. John McGladrigan and Mick Fitzgerald. Ben Jenkins and Barry Holmes on row 12. Behind them and completing the grid, Jonathan Sargent, Luca Marinoni Osborne, Lauren Taylor, Alex J and Brendan Fitzgerald. So I know you've been doing your homework, going around the paddock, and quite a lot of work going on overnight in the paddock, I believe.
Indeed, yes. Lawrence Davies' team had 2 engine changes overnight, didn't they? So they've been super busy. I think it was a bit touch and go whether they were going to make it, but Brendan Fitzgerald and Alex J at the back of the grid, 2 new engines.
This is a little bit of a worry. So they've done the engine changes and now they've got to worry about tyres. So what are the cars going to be going out on, and is that going to affect things if the weather does turn?
Well, they'll obviously be out on slicks, won't they, because it was dry. I mean, I'm not seeing too much rain. I'm not sure if the drivers are being a little bit dramatic with their wipers, but we'll soon see. We can see a few specks on that camera there, but yeah, hopefully it holds off.
We hope so too. There is rain forecast here today, so we'll wait and see. So let's just check the colours. Charlie Mann in red. It's the black and yellow car of Alex Solly on the outside. That's our camera car on right of shot as we look at the cars on the front row. The blue car is Lee Pearce, winner here last year. Lights are on the gantry and out we go. Lee Pearce breaks ranks, looks down the inside. It's a very good start there from Alex Solly in second position. The 2 blue cars, Nelson King, remember, looking to get a winning run on track. We've got Nathan Edwards looking on the outside run there in the light white and blue car. Wipers on for the leader as they go, but so far I'm going to actually hold sway, because when they get into the complex things can go a little bit awry. But it's the red car of Charlie Mann that leads this one. Lee Pearce about to be passed by Louis Cappozzoli in the light blue and white car. Cappozzoli the winner of yesterday's race 2. Now I think I can probably say they made a good job of the start.
Yes, breathe a sigh of, I was going to say breathe a sigh of relief, but they're off in the back.
Absolutely typical.
But yes, it was a fairly neat start, wasn't it? Charlie Mann had a great start there, but they all did seem to catch him up at the complex, but maybe he was taking it a little steady there.
Yeah, it's going to be slippery. There's going to be a little bit of nerves as Cappozzoli goes on the inside line then of Pearce. We need to keep an eye out for the likes of Alfie Glennie looking to come through the field as well for the first time. And 20-minute race. We didn't get the full 20 minutes of racing in race 1 because, surprise, surprise, we had a couple of safety cars in race 1, but yesterday's was a cracker. It went the distance and they were swapping places like nobody's business. Really good stuff.
It was fantastic. I think we had 7 different drivers for the lead at 1.6 or 7. It was fantastic. And look at this onboard view we've got here.
Now, you know Thruxton well. What are the drivers thinking with the wipers on and the changing conditions?
Well, I've never been here in the rain racing, but I wouldn't want to be in their shoes at the minute, I wouldn't say. I think that's Alfie Glennie on the grass there. That's not a good start for him.
Yeah, good spot, Lydia. It was Alfie. The youngster came through the Fiesta Junior Championship, was leading the race yesterday, and was unlucky perhaps not to get the win as we get the scrap on for second position, and that's Manning coming through. So Paul Manning, now we're hearing the rain is starting to come down a little bit heavier. Now race control will take the decision to maybe give them the opportunity to change over. Now what's your view on that, Lydia? Is it, well, first of all on the contact and then on the rain?
Well, I was just looking at the tarmac on the surface. It doesn't seem to be too bad at the minute, so I mean they'll be letting the race run at the minute, but obviously if it continues then it will be a different story, I should imagine.
Charlie Mann in second place. James Parker finds himself in the tyres, but thankfully manages to reverse out. So the potential of a safety car there has been negated with that car out. But it's now Nelson King who's got back in front. So Nelson, triple win at Pembrey, has got himself back in front.
Indeed, yes. He lost his streak yesterday, didn't he? But I think he's on for a good run here. I think the problem is they've not had long enough to warm up their slicks before the rain started to come, and that's probably why they're all struggling for grip. If the rain came a few minutes later, that it might have been all right.
Could well have been, couldn't it? Nelson King, when we were chatting to him yesterday in the holding area before the race, very politely said, are you around after the race? Can you come and chat then? That was a sort of go away, wasn't it? I don't blame him. He's focused on getting ready for the race. The last thing he needs is me doing it. Here we go, in car with the 4th place machine. Alex Solly neatly does the chicane there and chasing Capozzoli, who is in the white and light blue car when we see them go through at the moment. Touch wood, they're all behaving themselves.
It's starting to look a little bit treacherous there though, isn't it? They're all taking the chicane a lot more sedately than they were yesterday, that's for sure.
So it's King out front. Charlie Mann, who started in pole position on second. Capozzoli looks to the outside here, side by side. He's going to grab the inside for the second part of the complex, and with it grabs second position. So Mann is relegated to 3rd place. Alex Solly is in 4th and challenging for a podium position here on the inside. Amazing,
yeah, and that move by Louis Capozzoli was amazing, and he was right around the outside, which is where the grip will be when it starts to rain. So yeah, he just picked up that grip and sent it through. It was fantastic.
You do a bit of instructing around here, or a fair bit of instructing at Thruxton. Change for 3rd, so up into 3rd place. How much does coaching help you as a driver at various circuits?
It is really helpful. I mean, I've been around Thruxton probably more than any other circuit in the UK, and unfortunately we don't race here anymore. So, but yes, it is a great circuit, and to be honest, these minis will be flat from the first complex to the chicane. So it's fantastic racing. It really is.
Yeah, and you not racing means the JCWs who don't come to Thruxton, but we will see it at Alton Park in a fortnight.
We will, yes, looking forward to it.
You're looking forward to that too, the battle for the lead then. So it's Nelson King and Capozzoli, the only 2 drivers to have won races so far this year, coming up into the chicane. Alex Solly is in 3rd position. Fastest lap is with Nicky Taylor, who's working his way through. He's in 17th place, so Nicky 3rd in the championship coming into this race. And had a quick chat with him this morning. Seems all fairly happy with the way things are going at the moment. 3rd in the championship.
Oh, dear.
That is a potential safety car. We've got a big group of cars. The Interclens car of Nathan Edwards in the mix, I think, has come through. The number 4 car of Mike Paul involved there as well, and he's stuck. And a safety car might be a good idea there. Is he going to move? It's Morgan Root stuck as well on the pit lane. He's trying to inch the car forward to get it moved. Safety car is being deployed. Safety car is coming out, and we've got 4 cars for the lead, and we will still have after, so it's not spoiled anyone's race that way. Driver on Morgan Root on the start-finish line, and when you've got a driver there, it's the worst possible place to be when you've got the cars coming through.
100%, when you're facing the wrong way down the pit lane as well with all the other cars coming at you, that's not good. I've never seen anything like that with minis before.
What you couldn't see from the shot was that the pit lane, the end of the pit lane wall was just past where Morgan's car is. So although he wasn't sort of looking to, pop over the wall, he made his way down to the end of the wall and was ushered to safety by the marshals. slam of the door for Mike Paul, rightly so. The Basingstoke man, local mix, not the way you want your home meeting to end, is it?
No, definitely not. No, and there's a bit of damage on those cars as well, isn't there? So a lot to do before.
Oh, red flags.
Oh, that's a shame.
It is a big piece. Lydia, we had red flag last time you were in the comms box with the...
Don't bring it up, Richard. Oh, what a shame.
Yeah, that's a pity. But in the interest of safety, the payback is that the marshals lose their little lunch break, don't they? Which is a big shame because the marshals do such a terrific job. Here's the race, if we could decipher what happened. So it all kicks off seemingly with this group at the chicane, a few sideways moments here.
I think it's in front of that, isn't it? We missed it.
It was, but that group before were just involved, weren't they, in shenanigans at the chicane?
Yeah, indeed. That's not good.
Is it good? So we get the other angle from here. So it's a bit of a turnaround. It looks like Nathan Edwards in the white and blue car got turned into that.
Morgan Root was the innocent party in all of that, wasn't he?
He was,
He's just
yeah.
been caught up in all of that, which is really unfortunate for him.
That's a big, big shame. Getting thumbs up from the officials down there on the start line. Yeah, Morgan was. Those cars are not going to be able to take the restart. We've actually got a forklift truck coming to take one of the cars away. So some fairly big remedial action which is needed there. Just have a quick look down pit lane. Frankie Taylor going through, shot. Paul Manning going through. Well, okay, you've probably guessed what's coming up next. The cars are lining up and getting ready for the track to be cleared and get ready for their restart procedure for a slightly shortened race. Good opportunity for us to take a quick break. Please stay with us. Welcome back to Thruxton. Not the site we wanted to see, which is stationary minis on track waiting for a restart because of this, Lydia Walmsley. Still didn't catch the car that did the turnaround. It was the red and black one which went in across, and Morgan Root, who was actually starting to get some momentum in his weekend, is away. Mike Paul's car being towed away as well. The other car that was involved there was Nathan Edwards, and I think Louise is with Nathan at the moment. Let's go and talk to Lou.
I am indeed, Richard. So Nathan, give us your view, your version of events there.
Well, it happened all a bit too quickly. I think a few of us got in trouble in race 2 yesterday for cutting a chicane, told not to do it, and that's unfortunately what you get. It's a shame because the Interclen's car was looking strong. We missed a gear early on, which put us on the back foot, but we were coming back through. Car felt really, really good. So, but yeah, it's a big repair bill now before Croft in 4 weeks' time, and I'm just absolutely gutted for everyone because we worked so hard to come racing. We all want to, be up the front. We're all good enough, and this championship is incredibly close. But no, I'm just absolutely gutted for everyone that worked so hard to be here. And yeah, unfortunately, that's the end of our weekend. And yeah, gutted.
And a large bill to go with it. Did you see it coming at all, or was it just a sudden, like, wham bam, there we go?
I was sort of behind Mike and Joe Wiggin, and we've all tried to get through the chicane fine. We've come out. I've had a big hit from, I think it was Ben Jenkins, but don't quote me on that. And I think he just turned me across the road. I thought I was going in the pit wall. That's probably one of the biggest shunts I've ever had. But yeah, just gutted. This is a big repair bill, as you say, and racing's not cheap.
Bad luck. Let's bring in Mike as well, because as you say, involved in that too. Mike, just give us your thoughts on it.
Oh, the race was going well. It's a difficult corner. We've had problems there before, and we did what we were told, asked to do. And obviously, I think there was an incident on the outside of us, which came across and dealt us the bad blows.
How difficult is it? Because that is, I mean, you're all bunched up with the minis. That's part of the attraction of the racing. So is it kind of inevitable that when you come to a chicane, everybody's going to be battling position, and it's more likely to happen?
Absolutely. I mean, it's one of the slower parts of the track, so it's a place where you can make gains, either coming into it or going out. And so all you want to do is grit your teeth and try and get through there, hold your breath sometimes and hope you don't get tagged. And unfortunately, we got tagged, yeah.
Just tell us a bit about I'll get this from both of you actually, what were the conditions like out there early doors in the race? Because the rain spots just started coming down just as you were basically sitting in the cars, weren't they?
Raining quite heavily at the back of the circuit, which is one of the fastest and corners of the track. So it was a little bit worrying, but there seemed to be grip there at that point. I was just hoping that it wasn't going to continue with the rain. So yeah, it wasn't too bad. So I was glad about that.
Actually, I think I can hear the cars firing up, getting ready to go behind me. So I'll hand back to Paul and Lydia.
Thanks, Lou. And Mike Paul there, local man, as we said in the commentary, comes from Basingstoke, one of the LDR performance tuning team. And so he's disappointed on home tarmac. I think we're going to have a look again at the incident. So keep your eyes on this group. It was a lot of bunching, wasn't it?
I was just about to say the word bunching. You've just took that right out of my mouth, Richard. But yes, just can't really say what went on there. Really, it shouldn't have happened, should it? But
no, I mean what we don't know is what happened further back. I think it was Ben Jenkins that maybe just tagged the car. I'm not laying the blame squarely at his door. Ben having a good weekend, had a fastest lap in yesterday's race, which was great to see. As we look across at Paul Manning's car, and the onboard giving us some good footage though. And what we didn't really appreciate, what Mike Paul was saying there, was how such a vast place here that the rain was heavier out on the faster part of the circuit, which was a little bit nerve-wracking for them.
Indeed, we didn't really appreciate that, did we? Because we stood on the start-finish straight and it was pretty much dry. But yes, that's certainly not the place on the track that you want the rain to be coming down, if anywhere. So yeah, good job that everyone came out relatively unscathed on that front.
There's our onboard car, which is Alex Solly. We've got a bit of footage, so tell us from the driver's perspective about what we're going to see.
Look at that rain. Gosh, I didn't appreciate that. So yes, there'll be flat through here, flat to the boards all the way through, and you can see the toe. He is gradually gaining here, but this is not where the toe comes into effect. He's over on the left-hand side. They're defending in front, and he's trying to get a gain by taking the racing line, and they're inconveniencing themselves over to the left. I'm sure he's by here. Yeah, so he's got a good run there because they've been defending and he's taken his natural racing line flat all the way from here all the way down to the chicane. So this is where it all gets a bit tight. Flat to the boards. Look at them. I mean, look at this. This is fantastic, isn't it? All the way around the outside. That was brave.
You can see the rain coming out, as they said on the window, just on the far part of the circuit, coming down a bit heavier.
And they're still flat out as well.
This was the external shot.
Unbelievable. Look at that. You can't really see the rain from here.
No, you can't see apart from those on boards. But Solly ready to deliver a little bit more for us in this one. He's 17 years of age, comes from Horton Regis, so one of the teenagers in the championship. And one of the things you'll notice as we interview the drivers is that the age range is vast in this, isn't it? We've got youngsters looking to make their way through up to the Saloon Car British Touring Car Championship ranks, and we've got the older drivers who want to come in and just enjoy their weekend off work.
Indeed, and I think that's what makes the mini challenge so fantastic, to be honest, because you meet so many different people, so many different backgrounds, and they're all coming for the same goal, really, aren't they, to go racing? And it brings a lot of different people together, and it's fantastic to watch as well.
First weekend for Lauren Taylor, and she had a retirement in race 1 but got a finish in race 2, so it's good race mileage under Lauren's belt, and she'll be restarting this one. I think be thankful she wasn't involved in that skirmish against the pit wall.
Yes, absolutely. I think she had a power steering failure yesterday in the race, so she did a good job to continue. Sorry.
No, that's all right. She did a terrific job, and looking forward to doing some more. We will see the sort of continuing story of this championship, because as you heard Nathan Edwards say, we're going to see these cars at Croft in 4 weeks' time, but JC Dubbers, as you mentioned, back with us at Alton Park in a fortnight, so we do get the variety. And the championship so far, as we said, Nelson King, 4 wins from the first 4 races before Louis Capozzoli took over. Number of classes that we look at as well. Again, the championship catering for different drivers. So we've got the rookie championship for first-year drivers, which is led by Jack Byrne, the young Irishman. He's actually won his class in every one of the 5 races so far. And the directors category, which is for the older drivers, which is what I would be. I'd be in the senior directors category, which Lee Pearce has won 3. Matt Hammond, the former champion, is back with us as well, and he won round 4 in that one. Fastest laps being shared out over the course of the season. Lee Pearce has had 1. In fact, we've had 5 different drivers set fastest laps in this championship, underlining what you say, how competitive it is. Lee Pearce, Tom Ovenden, Matt Hammond, Ben Jenkins and Alfie Glennie all had fastest laps, so there's no one with an outright advantage, is there? No,
definitely not, and that's what again makes this so fantastic, because like yesterday we had 6 or 7 different drivers leading the race. I mean, it just makes it so exciting to watch, and you never know who's going to come out on top, especially at Thruxton with the toe as well. It makes for great racing. Going back to what Nathan Edwards was saying, obviously it's disappointing to get the damage as we get the 1 minute board. When you've had the damage like that, at what point what's the immediate reaction? Is it walk away from it, or is it, no, I'm going to think about it sensibly and just evaluate everything? Well, personally, my thought is usually about how much it's going to cost, first of all, but yeah, it's it's so difficult because these teams put in so much effort, and to see it all go down the pan like that really is really unfortunate. But I'm sure they'll be back. The teams will get the cars sorted again, and they'll be back in tip-top shape. So yeah, look forward to seeing them out at Croft.
Yeah, I hope that's right. Nathan Edwards, Kent-based driver, comes from Tunbridge Wells. As we look for the cars to get underway behind the safety car on their green flag lap. So the clock is actually already running, 15 minutes allocated for the restart, and we're down to 13, so it'll be a slightly shorter race. Lovely shot there. It's towards the back end of the grid, and it's a wonderful place to watch here at Thruxton. If you do ever join us at the track, got the cover of the two grandstands there, and you can watch the cars, super view coming up Woodham Hill and into the chicane, and you see quite a lot of overtaking up Woodham Hill, quite a bit of passing into the chicane as well.
Well, that's the place on the circuit, isn't it? Everyone's making their move at the chicane, aren't they? Which, yeah, was causing people a little bit of struggle yesterday. But hopefully we'll have some more competitive moves in this race when it restarts.
Hope so too. Here's the grid then for our restart. It's Nelson King on pole from Charlie Mann, Louis Cappozzoli and Alex Solly on row 2. Lee Pearce lines up on row 3 next to Matt Hammond. Jack Byrne, top rookie, on row 4 with Nicky Taylor, then Tom Ovenden and Joe Wiggin. On row 5, row 6, Mike Paul and Clark Wells. Nathan Edwards and Ben Jenkins, not sure we're going to see Nathan or Mike actually, but Ben Jenkins next up from Tyler Lidzier and Frankie Taylor. Morgan Root and Jonathan Sargent on row 9. John McGladrigan with Alfie Glennie to his outside, then Alex J and Paul Manning, followed by Luca Marinoni Osborne and Mick Fitzgerald. Following them, Brendan Fitzgerald and Barry Holmes, Lauren Taylor we saw on the grid, and Oliver Meadows and James Parker. So restart, the drivers get, sometimes for many drivers actually say that the start is the best bit of the race for them, so they've had double value for money here, but I think they'd probably just want to get some racing laps in and get the full, well, 15 minutes of racing. Bit of crowd surfing, everyone enjoying Is it warm enough for ice cream?
No, well, I was just thinking it was just raining and he's got an ice cream out.
Got to make the most of your day out there, haven't you? Got to do that. Nelson King on pole though. You'd be brave to bet against him to take a 5th win of the season. 4 straight wins at Pembrey. It was Matt Hammond that had pole position at Pembrey, and they really enjoyed the run. But a little bit of damage, is that going to affect things at all?
No, that's just a rear wing, isn't it? So that'll be fine. Look at Charlie Mann, the way he's lined up there. I'm not sure that's quite allowed.
He's in his box, but yeah, just trying to sort of launch himself down, isn't it? He's poised for attack there.
He is.
Wants to make the most of his front start. Car's still coming into line towards the back of the field, but getting ready for the restart. There we are. One car definitely out of position there. I do hope that's not a staller. Oh, it isn't. That's good. Not ideal, but we get the green flag anyway. I guess it's not going to affect anybody behind because there's only the course car.
No.
Let's get ready. Restart of round 6 of the championship. Lights go out. Nelson King, the championship leader. Charlie Mann in red is going to tuck in. At least I don't think we've got the rain now. It's Cappozzoli next up. Alex Solly is in 4th position ahead of Lee Pearce in the 23. And again, do we hold our breath and say that was a good start by everybody because it went pear-shaped after that? Solly making a little bit of progress and nibbling at Cappozzoli as they go into Cappozzoli, in fact, in turn getting ahead of Mann as they come into the complex for the first time.
That's the second. Wow, Louis Cappozzoli is really going for it, isn't he? And that's the second time that he's made that move. I don't think he's quite made it stick this time. It's not quite worked out for him. But look at Lee Pearce as well. He's come up from through the field and he's right next to Cappozzoli there.
Here's somebody kicking up the dust behind, but it's Lee Pearce, the reigning 1300cc stock car world champion, double world champion in stock cars. And Pearce gets a little bit of stock car action into the side, forces him off onto the grass, but he collects it all up. He'll come back on as carefully. The Blue Book, the MSA Bible tells us you have to come back on safely. He did that.
I spoke too soon, Richard.
He was making a move, but just a little bit of contact for him. Gone back to rear-wheel drive on the short overs, I believe, with a rather vintage Toyota Starlet recently. But it's Nelson King out front. Charlie Mann doing well here in 2nd.
Yeah, and look at the top 3. They have really broke away from that back group. But what can Solly do here? He's in the tow. Can he get by?
Yep, this is the run, isn't it? Up Woodham Hill into the chicane in front of the big crowd that we've got here at Thruxton this weekend. Bun fight on for 4th position. Jack Byrne is in the mix. The young Irishman leading the rookie championship by a good way at the moment is climbing up as well. Now, you saw a car straight line that, and there was a little bit of confusion over instruction from the clerk, but I think generally, in the interest of safety, you can do that.
Indeed, yes. I think it only comes into account when they're sort of gaining an advantage from cutting the chicane, which I think is
and that's
what
common
was
sense,
happening.
isn't it?
Indeed, yes. And
safety first, advantage no.
Exactly. And I think that was all ironed out yesterday.
We hope so. So 12 minutes 59 to go in this one. Solly busy chasing the second place car of Charlie Mann. The 17 yellow car in the mix is Nicky Taylor and Alex J. Now, is that the engine? It's a new engine in that car, isn't it, overnight?
It is,
or a
yes.
replacement engine?
Yes, yeah, so maybe it's just not taken.
Disappointment for Alex J, and one of the drivers we caught up with in the paddock this morning, and we were disappointed not to get some decent mileage this weekend. His engine failure yesterday was a non-finish, and having to work his way through the back just to make a move up the inside there was Clark Wells, in car though with Alex Solly.
Look at this, flat out. Look at the toe, look how much they gain, and he's flat out, the guy in front's flat out. Look at it.
And now they work together. Not supposed to do contact.
It's all getting a bit close, isn't it?
It was indeed. Did he come up Woodham Hill again into the club chicane? Nelson King still there. Solly on the outside. Charlie Mann doing a super job at the moment in 3rd place. Now the 4th position car is Jack Byrne, the rookie. This is impressive from the youngsters. This is the first time, I think, he's been up battling for an overall podium.
Brilliant, amazing. And Nelson King looks quite comfortable in the lead there, doesn't he? And oh dear. And we've got a roll over.
And that, ladies and gentlemen, is going to be a safety car, if not another red flag. Probably red flag. The checker as well, I think, very sadly, as we go back to the leaders. And it's Nelson King still there. King, I think, will take the win at the moment. I don't think they've seen any reds. Out of the complex go the race leaders. 20 car in 2nd position. So Charlie Mann, red flags absolutely right in the interest of safety. And marshals, look at that, very quickly on scene and sorting things out. But that just goes to show how tricky it is when you're going through the chicane. And I think that was Luca Marinoni Osborne, who, another driver that we caught up with yesterday, had a frustrating start to his season, the newcomer. Comes from Woking, so another driver having a disappointing race on home tarmac, but he's out of the car and he is well. Morgan Root, who was involved in the first one, also it's going to be full McHugh at the medical centre, isn't it?
Oh dear, yes, not good, but it's good to see him out of the car.
And thumbs up. That was a nice thing.
Exactly.
Well done,
Let's see
Luca.
what happened here.
So comes across Fitzgerald in the 80 car, just dig in. That's why we have catch fencing, ladies and gentlemen.
Indeed, yeah, that's quite scary to watch, really, isn't it?
Yeah. Little bit of curving, just 2 cars wanting the same bit of track, and then the yellow car goes back into it, up into the air. I thought it was going to stay on all 4, but that's going to be another recovery job from the from the forklift, isn't it, at the very least, because it's right up against the tyre wall. And you see what the marshals have to deal with. I was chatting to a couple of the marshals in the holding area before. New marshals joining us, which is absolutely great. And one of the young ladies just lives about 10 minutes away, which is good, and great that those guys are giving their support to racing.
And we have to thank them, really, don't we? I don't think we give them enough thanks, really. They're giving up their time for free, bear in mind. So yeah, and they do a fantastic job, and at the end of the day, they're keeping us all safe as well. And without them, we won't be racing at all. So pat on the back to the marshals.
Message on the timing screen tells us the session will not be restarted. That won't be a surprise, because we try and fit things into the timetable. That was Alex J's car that we saw having problems earlier on. So here's the incident again. Very busy coming into pit lane. I think
there was initial contact there, wasn't there?
Yeah. There was. Marinoni did the curbs just throw him off a little bit?
I think so. He conked it a little too hard, didn't he? And sent him into Fitzgerald, and then from there it escalated, didn't it?
Jack Byrne there as well in the 486 car, who's going to take the rookie win. What we don't know is whether that result will be declared and whether it will be full points or half points. I suspect it will be full, because last year we didn't have too much racing here, did we? And Lee Pearce got the win and the full point. So it's going to be another win for the 19-year-old. Nelson King comes from Nats Valley. Graves Motorsport, who are really building up, and they're heading towards, as their announcement said last year, into touring cars. Graves Motorsport.
Amazing. I mean, they're local to me actually, Colchester, and they've just built this team, and it's grown so quickly, hasn't it? And they're doing so well. I mean, look, 5 straight, or not quite straight wins, but 5 wins out of 6. I mean, that's not too bad, is it? Not
too shabby at all. So Nelson, I think, was runner-up to Steve Pearce last year, and if I remember correctly, did he intimate he let Steve win it?
Ooh,
I'm not sure a driver ever does that, but I think that was probably what he was alluding to. Rest of the cars coming into the pit lane. Nelson King then is he'll take P1, as you do.
I don't think he can quite believe it. He's shaking his head, isn't he?
He is. Nelson King out of the car. He's going to celebrate win number 5 there, and we'll catch up with him after this break.
Quaife Mini Challenge as eventful as always, but a pretty clean start, especially from Charlie Mann, and he was soon to be overhauled by Nelson King and the in-form Louis Capozzoli. But a rain shower dampened the track, added to the challenge, and 3 laps in, a loss of control on the exit of the chicane, and a 3-car start line pile-up brought out the red flag. Restart required, this time with Nelson King on pole, championship leader, Charlie Mann behind. There are more problems at the chicane, to say the least, and a second red flag for the inverted car of Marinoni Osborne. No restart possible this time. Nelson King takes the win, and let's go down to Louise, who will get all the reaction.